know today you're going to be increasing, hopefully, Head Start, emergency funding from Department of Economic Security. So rather than this being, I learned a lot from people in different aspects of life, and that is we can't be put in boxes, whether you're conservative or liberal. So what I'm saying here today is I think that when you guys are up there debating, the fact is at least you try to keep it civil. And because we all know of different city councils in other parts of the country, they're rather entertaining, but it still hurts our civics, part of our government, when we go crazy. So I appreciate the civility because, you know, we're not always going to agree 100% of the time. That being said, I know that you guys were going to be hopefully improving some funding for inspecting our sewers, which I know sounds rather mundane, but I have a lot of neighbors, and it seems like we've been having our sewage backed up, and I think the city sometimes will say, well, it's your problem as a homeowner, it's not out here on the street. So I don't know, maybe I'll route the thing again and see if that works, but a lot of the neighbors are having problems with that. But I also want to state something positive. I just learned that the city of Phoenix is apparently validating parking for citizens who come down here. So, I'm sorry, for certain people, I mean, when people come down, you can talk to them about that, but I'm just saying that I think that's a good thing. I am going to be speaking about the issues of homelessness today. I know we are all trying our hardest. I know probably everybody on this council volunteers. I see the good work you do. None of us, I believe, is cold-hearted and wants to throw people out on the street. But I still believe a lot of the folks, like one gentleman in the city, I'm trying to get him off of the street. He's been there over a year and a half through sun and rain. He freezes, he burns up out there, but he's got mental issues. I talked to the man, and he starts going off on a tangent, and it's not his fault that he's there. My libertarian part of me says, hey, you know what, if you want to be out there and die that way of starvation and hunger, but that's not, I don't think that's totally the case. If people have mental issues and they're out on the street, sometimes we need to have our officers maybe we need to work more on the specifics of the mental evaluations, because I just don't think we should be like some third world countries where people are dying out there. And I like to thank the people at CAS, but I really think we have a lot of improvements to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. Diane Barker.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor Waring and Councilwoman Thelda Williams. Diane Barker, District 7. My councilman isn't here, and we have two representatives. I do believe that Thelda Williams is doing her American duty. I'd like to see this body put what I'm asking, that the public comments that have been regulated to a period that are an official public record, and our representatives aren't here for anybody that may come from their district, be put as regular with every other city that does it on the formal agenda when we start out and we give the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, pass the minutes, and the citizenry is then considered and heard. There are a couple of issues. One has to do with pensions. I was speaking with one of the pension officers or employees at the city yesterday, trying to understand really what the debt is of the city in regards to the pension liability, because it was reported, I know that Councilman DeCiccio says $3 billion. Well, that raised eyebrows with me, because he said that at $3.6 billion, Detroit had declared bankruptcy, and I said, oh my land, is the city really close to that? I know, I believe in the city. I think we have a huge upside that we haven't even begun to tap, and it has a lot to do with Rio Salado and the other properties. The city is large, and it's only half built out. Okay, so from $3 billion, that it was like $1.2 billion basically is what the pension liability, inclusive of what the city otherwise has. That was what I was told. They said that they have enough. If you're looking at $2 billion, they have enough money in the funds now to pay for that extra. And I'd also like to bring up the fact that Mr. DeCiccio, I'm sorry he's not here, but he's a member of the pension out at the state as the rest of the city council, and they're in $7 billion debt. I think that, let's get these figures, straight. The public needs to know the truth, and maybe Mr. DeCiccio needs to start worrying about his state of Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruben Lara.
Yes, my name is Ruben Lara. I worked for the city of Phoenix for 32 years. And my complaint is we use lead paint on all city parks in South Phoenix and Ahwatukee. Eventually, it gave me lung problems. And the guy who used to work with me, he's on dialysis 4 times a week. And it don't just concern me, it's the public. Because the city has not done nothing, and there's more people that are sick. It's a silent issue that is going to affect in the future people that go there or people that work there. When I retired, they had Leonard sanding. I retired 2003. Leonard was sanding while the public was there. Seniors got sick, probably died from the paint. When I worked there, 5 people were deceased at the early age. One was 45, one was 53, 35, and Mrs. Jackson was in her 40s. But the city has not done nothing, and we're paying the price right now. Leonard was supposed to come, but he's in a rest home. He's only in his early 60s, and it's a concern not only for me, but the people that go there. And, it's not a good thing. I even talked to the EPA in San Francisco. They said they could not do nothing. But a friend of mine has a business. He said we were using industrial paint inside the building. He said we're lucky we're alive because industrial paint is not supposed to be used in the buildings. We use it on all the metal doors, jambs. And there's more people that are sick, but they did not come today. There's about 8 people that are sick. And maybe there's more that are probably sick of it. So we're paying the price, we pay our medical bills, and it's a hard thing. I have been taking steroids since '94, and we had asbestos in our building, our yard. It used to have asbestos. Even in Southmount Community Center, there was asbestos in that building. There's 2 ladies that have kidney failures too, her daughter, and she used to work there, Nellie Nelson. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Finn.
Yes, I am Pat Bent, and I want to give you my address because that's very important, 8340 North 16th Street. My neighbors are suffering because I'm down here complaining. And I've been told many a times you're supposed to come down here and start kissing butts instead of coming down here and complain, because these people don't work for us. They work for themselves. And the newspaper, if people would read the newspapers, it's all spelled out. You're all a bunch of crooks, you're all a bunch of thieves, and you're even murderers. Think about that. You're thieves, you're crooks, and you're murderers. You destroyed Jerome Miller. You know you did, and you're smiling. You think that's funny. That's not funny, because you don't know how to check the facts. It's right in the newspaper, fact check. All you have to do is check the facts. It's a disaster. Like Diane said, like Ruben said, everybody said, this ought to be part of the city council meeting, not take up 25 pages or 15 things for liquor license. Either the people want to be in business to make money and pay taxes. You ought to be happy about that. Don't try to put them out of business. And don't try to put me out of business, because you did. You don't know what businesses I'm involved in anymore, and you'll never know. but I'm involved in them. The ones that I shut down are not paying taxes anymore, but the ones I started, other people own, they're still paying taxes. The homes I built, the houses I moved, the properties that I've developed are still paying taxes. But I get ripped off. It's right in the paper. Sal DeCicio's not here, but his big picture in this paper about him, what he believes, what Jim believes, what Bill Gates believes, but they're on our side, even though I give you a little trouble now and then, Jim or Thelda, but you know, Thelda, you're not on our side. You're one of the family down here. It's proven beyond a doubt when you made the lady the police fire chief. The con man just retired because he was a con man. And you invited outside recipients here. You had no even thought about hiring someone from the outside because an outsider would expose you. Expose you, that's a big word, exposed. So anyway, why don't you read the city charter that the mayor and council can't talk to employees? You can't talk to Ruben or anyone that works for the city of Phoenix. You got to go through the city manager, and he don't give a damn. It's proven beyond a doubt. Frank Fairbanks and David Cavazos worked their way up to 300,000. They should have stayed if they cared about the city and worked. What they do, spiked their pension. That's in the paper too. And then walked out, spiking their pension and get $250,000 each. That's $500,000 a year.
You're
We're
going to
paying
John's
Ed
time,
Zerker
Pat?
that too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John, unfortunately. All right, John, it's your choice. We've got about 2 minutes before the meeting. I'll give you 2 minutes, or you can go 3 minutes at the end of the meeting.
I'll take it now.
You'll take it now, up to 2 minutes. Thank you so much, John. John Rusnick.
Come on, keep going. I only got 2 minutes back.
And save the other time.
If you don't finish, we'll give you another minute at the end of the meeting.
I'm here to talk about the dust proof again. Chris is going to show you some pictures of what has happened in the neighborhood. That's it. Last week, there's a development going on next door to my house. They put a asphalt driveway all the way down the lot and a turnaround for emergency vehicles. And lo and behold, they use gravel. Lo and behold, the gravel was the correct gravel. So what I have is the correct gravel on the west side of my house, and I've got the rocks that Alan Stevenson gave a variance to use these rocks that are 20 or 30 times larger than the ones that are in on my west side. So there's really something wrong here. So what I want to speak about here is in 11/7/2012, I got the ordinances. It says variance 3936. The city manager or designee may grant a minor, let me elaborate that, minor variance to the ordinance when there exists an unusual, unreasonable hardship resulting from a literal interpretation of this ordinance, provided that the method of work or repair offered conforms to the intent of the ordinance. And when we go to the hardship here, the man who owns that property,
John, you got to finish up, and we'll give you another minute at the end of the meeting if you want it. You need
when
more
you're going to
time?
give me one more minute?
No, we got to get started with today's meeting, so your 2
Okay.
minutes are up.
Anyhow, he owns 17 houses, drives 2 Mercedes, 5 motorcycles, and, well, I forgot what the other one is. 80
If you
years
think of it,
old.
you have another minute at the end of the meeting. Thank you for testifying, and I see your hat. Thank you for your service to our country. Ms. Rogers, you'll have 3 minutes at the end of the meeting because we ran out of time with the 15-minute citizen request period at the end. So we'll get started immediately with today's formal meeting of the City Council.